Good morning, Strat tabletop YouTube land. This is Tenacious Earl, and I'm live streaming this morning. Um, we're going to be doing game 112 of the Phillies replay. I had fully intended to upload, so I had recorded offline the game 111 versus the St. Louis Cardinals, and unfortunately, somewhere along the way, I had some technical difficulties on my phone, and I ended up deleting the game. Uh, and it didn't I couldn't get it uploaded. Basically, I don't know. My phone had an update. I thought that was the problem. I did the update, and then it still wouldn't let me convert it to a movie and all that stuff. So then it kept telling me I needed to free up space. I tried to free up space, and I ended up deleting the videos. I had assumed that I had already compiled the video, but that. So anyway, key learning 61 and 53 maybe. No, that can't be right. 61 and 50, I guess that would have been the case. Then the Mets are basically one game behind in the loss column from the Phillies, so they're hanging around. And Washington is 22 and a half back. They are way out. They're struggling this season, although they played the Phillies tough. So that's where things stand. We're going to play this game. It could really help the Phillies to sweep the Marlins here and gain some ground. I'm not very confident that's going to happen at this point, but I guess we will find out. Hi, Larry. Good morning to you. I just brought the comments up, so let's get this game started. Let's check and see what the weather is for this game. It's a night game in Philadelphia, and so that's going to be a good night. So potential for some power. 11 for left-handed singles, 8 for right-handed. Boy, that's so tiny as far as the rating. I had and then 17 on both sides for home runs. So the ball should be flying here. Might see some scoring. In real life, the Marlins won 8-2. Would be nice to turn that around here, but it's going to be Moyer on the mound first for the Phillies, and the Marlins lineup facing him. Facing the left-hander, it'll be Hanley Ramirez at short, Jeremy Hermida in right field, Jorge Cantu at third base, Josh Willingham out in left. He'll be batting cleanup, and then Mike Jacobs at first, Dan Uggla second base, John Baker catching, Alfredo Amazaga, however you want to say it. He's going to be in center for this game, and then you got Josh Johnson on the mound batting ninth. So power right-hander versus finesse lefty for the Phillies today. So Hanley Ramirez get this game started off against the lefty Moyer. We got to watch lefty versus righty here. 1-2 ballpark home run right off the bat, 1-17. Leadoff home run from Ramirez. It's gone. Already down 1-0. Not the start the Phillies were looking for. Jeremy Hermida. Well, that's a little better. That's a grounder to Rollins, who will make the play, and that's out number 1. Jorge Cantu against a righty, a 4-7. He will stick out. So Josh Willingham with 2 outs. That's a 3-9. Yeah, you can see that 3-9. Strikes him out, so he comes back and gets Cantu and Willingham, 3 and 4 hitters on strikeouts, but damage done early with the bomb from Ramirez. 1-0 Marlins going to the bottom of the first. Phillies lineup going up against Josh Johnson. It'll be Jimmy Rollins at short, Shane Victorino in center, Chase Utley second base, Ryan Howard at first, Pat Burrell in left, Jeff Jenkins in right field, Eric Bruntlett. So Pedro Feliz has been on the mend. So they've been going with a platoon of Eric Bruntlett and Greg Dobbs. Dobbs getting the day off today. Carlos Ruiz catching and Jamie Moyer pitching. Bruntlett a little better with range at third than Dobbs. Dobbs a little better with the glove and a little better hitter. So um, Bruntlett with some speed. Dobbs not so much. So Jimmy Rollins leading off here against Johnson. We go off the right side of, because it's a right-handed pitcher. Remember that. So 5-6 against a lefty, and he gets Rollins down on strikes. Shane Victorino. And also batting from the left, 6-5. That's another strikeout for Johnson. Good stuff early. Chase Utley with 2 outs. That's a 5-12. That'll be a grounder to first. The Marlins, that's one of their weaknesses. Not so great in the field. Mike Jacobs at first is a 5 range fielder, and that's a 1. That will be a single for Utley. And we will check on his E17 and 12, and there's a 1 base error to boot. So not only does he not get to it, he barely gets to it, and it goes off his glove, and I don't know. Anyway, single and an error. So runner at second, tying run potentially. Ryan Howard at the plate. So we will check it here and go. Ryan Howard with 2 outs against a lefty. 6-6 strikes him out. Johnson strikes out the side. Works around the error from Jacobs. 1 hit, 1 left. 1-0 Marlins going to the second. So lefty-lefty matchup to start the second inning for Florida. It'll be Mike Jacobs, first baseman, against Moyer. And he strikes out. So third strikeout for Moyer. Dan Uggla. And he strikes out. 4 in a row for Moyer. And John Baker. And he strikes out. 3-9 is a third strikeout in the inning. Strikes out the side. Down go the Marlins. We'll go to the bottom of the second. We've already had 8 strikeouts in this game, and we haven't gotten through 2 innings. So these teams are pretty good at striking out. Pat the Bat Burrell going off the right-hand side of the card. I got to remind myself each time here. That's a 5-9. Against a right-hander, and guess what? Another strikeout. So Burrell goes down. Jeff Jenkins. And he's going to hit a fly ball. At least he makes contact this time. It'll be out there to Willingham, and Willingham, he's a little upset. He had something to do there. So 2 outs. Eric Bruntlett against a righty 4-4 grounder to Hanley Ramirez, 3 range. 15, he will get the glove on it. Will he be able to make the throw? And I believe an E24 is still in that good range, and yes, it is. Makes the play. 1-2-3 inning again. This time for Johnson, and we'll go to the third. So far, a little bit of a pitcher's duel, but Marlins with that leadoff home run from Hanley Ramirez, that's the difference so far. Number 8 hitter here for Florida. It'll be Alfredo Amezaga. I think that's how you're supposed to say it, Amezaga. I heard Harry the K say it a couple different ways back in the day. Batting from the right, 6'10". That'll be catcher X. Ruiz, the catcher for the Phillies, he's a 2 range. That'll be a grounder with a 20 on the D20, and then just make sure he doesn't make an error, and he doesn't. So Wrong side of the card here. Okay. And that's going to be scored 2-3 on the putout. So Johnson at the plate, number 2 pitcher's hitting card. 1-9. He strikes him out. Moyer finessing these guys like crazy, and they're falling for it. Hanley Ramirez, currently the only hit so far for the Marlins, the home run in the first inning, 6-5. He's batting from the right, and that's a fly ball to right field. Underneath it, Jenkins makes the catch. Another 1-2-3 inning, a good outing so far for Moyer. Still 1-0 Marlins. And it'll be the number 8 hitter for the Phillies here, Carlos Ruiz. Phillies need to get on the board here. Against the right-handed side, 2-6, that's a grounder back to Johnson. And he has no troubles with that soft grounder. 1 out. Moyer with pitcher's hitting card number 1. And he's going to strike out. So that's the 5th strikeout for Josh Johnson. And back to the top of the order. Here's Jimmy Rollins. Rollins batting .270. And, whoa. Stupid thing, where'd you go? Well, ball went out of play. We'll have to bring another ball back from the ball boys, bringing some balls out from the dugout, and we'll be back in business here shortly. Made absolutely no sound when it hit, and yet I can't find out where it... If a die doesn't make any sound, does it actually fall in the forest? How about that? Jimmy Rollins with 2 outs. 3-8 against a righty. He will fly out to left. And the Phillies down in order again. So we're flying through this game so far. We're into the 4th. Still 1-0. Florida on top, and we will see them send Jeremy Hermida to the plate to lead off here against the left-hand side Moyer. 3-12, and that's a lucky roll. 3-11's problem. 3-12 is a grounder to Rollins for out number 1. So Jorge Cantu against a righty 6-7. Well, there's going to be the second hit of the game for the Marlins. 1-13 double chance. And it's an 11, so a double. And Marlins potentially in business here. Josh Willingham, another right-handed hitter. 6-6 against a righty. That's a 1-7 single chance. Wouldn't score the run. It's an 18, so that will be a liner to Utley for out number 2. And Cantu does get back, so with 2 outs, that will be Mike Jacobs. Lefty-lefty. See if Moyer can exploit that matchup. Another 6. 6-10. Catcher X. Ruiz a 2. And a 7. Let's see. That'll be a potential passed ball. Let's check about error. No error. So the potential passed ball we look off of. We go with Moyer's wild pitch rating for this, and it's a 2. So a 1 or a 2 would be a pass ball. Otherwise, it'll be a pop out. It's a pop out to end the inning. Ruiz catches it. And that'll be it for the top of the 4th. So no runs, a hit on the double, and they strand him at second. Go to the bottom of the 4th. Phillies still looking for that tying run. Here's Shane Victorino. They got the right part of the order coming up for this. Let's see if they can do it. Against a righty, 1-9. That's a grounder that is fielded to Ugla's left. Easy peasy throw for him. That's 1 out. Chase Utley. Against a lefty, 5-6. Another strikeout for Johnson. He's dominating the Phillies here today. Ryan Howard. And another strikeout on 3-9. 2 strikeouts of Howard. That is number 7 for Johnson. And Phillies go down in order again. So we're through 4 here at Citizens Bank Park. Both offenses are a bit stunted here today with some solid pitching performances. We're going to go off the left-handed side of the batter's card here for Moyer. Dan Ugla leading off. Righty 5-2. This is going to be a check of Howard. Ryan Howard, not a good range, not a good fielder at first. 4-20. That's going to be a single, leadoff single. And let's see, any error on the E20. E20 and 9, no error. But he will lead off with a single. 3rd hit of the game. Not much of a stolen base threat. Moyer, Ruiz are pretty decent at holding runners. John Baker. Hi, Manny. Against a lefty, 6-6. And there is a walk. So now Moyer, in his inning of weakness, starting to show signs of maybe running out of gas here. Amazaga. With the pitcher spot coming up, probably not bunting here. Against switch hitter, so right-handed, 5-11. Well, that's going to be twin killing there. That's a 6-4-3. Rollins to Utley to Howard. Ugla moves to 3rd on the play, but that gives Moyer a way out of this inning with the pitcher coming up and a runner 90 feet away. 2 outs. Josh Johnson. Can he get Johnson out here? And it's a 4-4 against a left-handed hitter. 4-4. Grounder to Rollins. Rollins a 1-8. 17. He gets to it. Now you got to avoid the 16, 17, or 18 roll here on the D6s. And he gets a 14. That he will make the play, and that will end the inning. So, leadoff single, and walk to follow, and no runs to show for it for the Marlins. We're going to go to the bottom of the 5th. Okay, so only 1 hit so far for the Phillies. Utley reached. Jacobs 5-17. A 5 and a 10. Let's see. They weren't holding Burrell on, so he will get to it. It should advance Burrell unless there's an error. E17 and 13. No error, but Burrell will advance to second on the, we'll call it 3-1 as Johnson was covering. So 1 out. Eric Bruntlett And there is a potential wild pitch from Johnson with a 1. So 1 to 10. 10 is his wild pitch rating. 16, no wild pitch. So Burrell has to stay at second. Bruntlett, 6-8 against a righty. And that is going to score the tying run on 6-8. 1 to 2, a triple. 3 to 20, a single. That'll be a single with 2 stars. Burrell will come around third. He will score, and the Phillies tie it up on Bruntlett's RBI single. So Bruntlett, let's see, Johnson plus Baker is a 0, and Bruntlett a pretty. If he can get a lead, he's going to try to run here with 1 out. If he can get a good lead, but an 8 won't do it. Let's see. So 13 minus 4 is 9. 1 to 9 is not a great range. He's gonna. Let's see. Are they going to pull? I think they might stay with Moyer. So they're going to let Ruiz swing away here. Against a righty 5-9, he strikes him out, and that's going to bring up Moyer. Moyer started to struggle a bit in the 5th. Wait, that wasn't. What am I saying? I said the 5th. I thought we were in the 6th. That's not Moyer's weakness inning. So Moyer at the plate now, and really need a pitcher's card roll here for the Phillies. Well, 5-6, that's a strikeout. 5-7 is would be tougher, but the 5-6 is a strikeout, and that ends the inning. So 1 run. They tie the ball game after the Burrell walk. He scores on Bruntlett's RBI single, and it's 1-1 going to the 6th. So slight mistake there, as I said. Moyer, this is now his inning of weakness, so he will continue here. But now we start counting his hits and walks. Once they total 3 from here in an inning, or 4 over the course of 2, he becomes weak. Hanley Ramirez leading off against the lefty, so he's a righty 5-6, and that's going to be a single to start for Ramirez. They're going to try to see if he can get a lead. They're a 9, he will not, so he's going to hang tight there for Hermida. And a potential wild pitch on that 1. 1 or a 2, and a 10 doesn't do it. Here's Hermida. Against the lefty, 4-4, grounder to short. Okay, here's a chance at a double play. Rollins, let's see, with a lefty, yeah, he would be holding on, so that's going to make him a 2 E8. And so on the D20, 1 through 6 gets him, that would end up being a single because he's holding the runner. So, and it's a 1. That's going to be a single for Hermida. Can't get to it, and then no error, but that's going to be a single, and it is 1 base advance. So trouble for the Phillies. Jorge Cantu, who has hurt them this year so far. (2-5) is a 1 to 8 single chance. And it's a 10. That'll be a grounder to third. We'll go the short way, not the shortest, because Ramirez will get to third. That'll be a 5-4, fielder's choice, and so runners at the corners with 1 out. Phillies are going to play. They will play at corners in here. Corners will come home with it if, well, although the runner isn't forced. Actually, they're going to play at double play depth. They've changed their mind. And so here's Willingham. So normal depth. 1-7 strikes him out. So big strikeout there for Moyer. And so now they can, there's no decision there. They're going to play back for Jacobs. Can Moyer work around his early troubles? 1-9. That is a long drive. It's way back, and it's out of here. Mike Jacobs goes deep. Second home run of the game. This is a 3-run shot, and that makes it 4-1 Marlins. And that is going to get the Phillies bullpen warming up. So poor luck there for the Phils, for Moyer. The one column was a problem, and finally it came on that one. So I'm trying to check. They're going to get Clay Condrey warming up. So, yeah, he's reached his point of weakness now. They're going to let him pitch to Ugla, try to get through this inning. Against a righty, 6-8 grounder to Utley. He'll get to it, and he's going to make the play for the third out. But 2-out problems for Jamie Moyer, gives up 3 runs, and that's the way Johnson's pitching. That is probably the death knell for the Phillies in this game. That will likely be it for Jamie Moyer. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. The Phillies need 3 runs to come back in this one. Jimmy Rollins leading off against a righty, 3-9. That's a grounder to second. He has been really scuffling along here of late. Has trouble getting the ball and getting base hits. So Shane Victorino batting from the left, 5-5, grounder to Jacobs. He'll take it to the bag himself. 2 outs. And Chase Utley. Now he'll draw a 2-out walk. Well, he'll see if he can get a lead here. Needs a 5, and he doesn't get it. So it'll be Ryan Howard with 2 outs and a runner on first. Against the lefty, 4-11 fly ball to left will be caught by Willingham, and the Marlins are able to work around that 2-out walk. So Moyer, his day's done. They will bring in Clay Condrey for the 7th, maybe the 8th. If the starting pitcher has the lead and gave up 4 runs and is leading 4-0, but the relievers give those 4. So I'm going to reframe the question. I think what he's saying is, so Manny, I'll just, so this question, we'll take a minor break here. I don't want to take too long, but just a question. How do you determine whether a starting pitcher gets the victory? I think is what he's saying. A starting pitcher cannot earn a victory unless they pitch 5 innings in a regulation game. So if a game goes 9 innings, they cannot earn the victory unless they have to pitch 5. If they pitch 4 innings and then are taken out, doesn't work. They pitch 4 2/3, doesn't work. You need to have at least 5 innings pitched. If they leave the game with the lead, and if the runners on base do not total enough to where they would be, if they aren't responsible for the runners, like if the runners on base, if their responsibility for runners on base would not put them behind. So let's say, I'm assuming in your scenario you're saying 4-0. Let's say it's 4-0. It's the 6th inning, leaves the game with the bases loaded. Relievers gives up 3 runs the next inning they get 2 to make it 6-3. Then the other team makes it 6-4. That the starting pitcher would still get the victory if that's the way it ends. If the relievers, so if he leaves the bases loaded with a 4-0 lead, the relievers give up 4 runs in that inning to tie the game. There's no way he can win the game. He cannot win the game. Now, the last reliever to be in the game when he leaves the inning, if his team comes back and scores 2 the next inning, that reliever, although he is a schmuck for giving up the lead potentially, gets the victory. It's really a strange rule, but that's pretty much the way that it works in baseball. You can get a blown save and a win. You could pitch really bad, really poorly, give up the lead, blow the save, and your team comes back and wins for you, and you get the victory. So that's kind of the way it works. Yeah. It's early, Larry. My tongue isn't working right here. So John Baker. So they're going to face Clay Condrey. Condrey in here. Hopefully that covered enough time for him to warm up. Against the lefty, 6-7, a grounder to Utley. 2E14 for Utley's rating. I've seen it many times. A 2 and a 6. He will get to it with nobody on base. With someone on base, that would be a problem. And he will make the play for out number 1. But again, so Amizaga, left-hander, the key learning is if a pitcher does not go, that's going to be a grounder to Rollins. If a pitcher does not go 5 innings, if he doesn't pitch 5 innings, a starting pitcher, he can't win the game. Josh Johnson will hit here with a 3-run lead and 2 outs, nobody on base so he's batting from the left, 4-5 grounder to Rollins. Not an easy play, but with a 1E8, he should make it, and he does. So that will retire the side. 7th inning stretch. Take me out to the ball game, folks. Take me out to the crowd. So the Phillies need a rally here against Josh Johnson. He's been pitching very well. He's got, what's he got here? 9 strikeouts in the game through 6 innings. And the home fans are not happy right now. Pat Burrell could change that with one swing a little bit here, but 4-6 against a righty. He's going to strike out. His 2nd strikeout of the game. Pat Burrell's typical scorecard is going to look like walk, strikeout, walk, home run. or strikeout, walk, strikeout, home run. Or home run, strikeout, strikeout. Or strikeout, walk, home run, strikeout. Or strikeout, 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 walk. Something like that. Jeff Jenkins, also a 4-6. That's going to be a walk against a lefty, so that's potential glimmer of hope. How about Eric Bruntlett? Hit the only run batted in for the Phillies so far today with a single. Jenkins not a runner on the base paths. That's a 3-7. Well, he's gonna beat out the relay throw. That'll be a 5-4 put out. 2nd, and that's gonna bring up Chooch with 2 outs. Let me clean this up so when I write it into Strat PC, I know what I'm talking about. So 5-4 force play. Ruiz, 2 outs. Not much power, but a little bit of power. 6-7 against a righty. Grounder to Dan Ugla. Well, with you know what? We should have checked Bruntlett for. He is being held, and with a right-handed batter at bat, Ugla is going to be responsible for holding Bruntlett. So that 4 becomes a 5 range, but a 5 and a 15. He will get to it, and then an E15 and 14. Do they get a break here? They do, right? 5 and 3, 8 and 6 is 14. He is an E15 at second base, and a 14 is a 1-base error, so the inning extends on the E4. And the pitcher spot comes up, and the Phillies are going to have a chance to send Jason Worth to the plate or Greg Dobbs, one or the other. They'll go with Dobbs. And Florida is really, they're going to really try and let Johnson get through the 7th here. So Dobbs with a pinch hit appearance. Runners on first and second, 2 away. Against the lefty, 4-7, a 1-5 single. That would load the bases, and that would likely be the end of the day for Johnson. 1-5, and it is a 6. That's a diving catch by Ugla. He makes up for his error. No runs for the Phillies on no hits. 1 error, 2 left. So that will be it for Johnson. The Phillies will have to go to the bullpen here. They will turn to, let's see. J.C. Romero, trying to decide who they're going to bring in. Tough choice, actually, because there's almost no good choice at this point. Last game, they used Durbin and Happ, so I don't want to use Durbin so much if possible. He pitched 2 innings in that game, so Hanley Ramirez leading off. Against the lefty, 3-8 is a strikeout, so a good start for Romero. The Marlins will get... Let's see, who is going to set up for them? Matt Lindstrom will warm up. They're also going to get situational lefty Arthur Rhodes ready. So, between those two guys, maybe they'll bring in Arthur Rhodes to begin with. So, Ermita, and we don't need to roll the D20. Ballpark single chance for a lefty, 1-11. By 17, that will be a liner to Utley and caught, 2 outs. So Jorge Cantu. Against a righty, 6-4, strikes him out. So good inning for Romero. Bottom of the 8th. Yeah, so I saw Larry's question, or sort of an answer there. Yeah, this is so think about it this way. As of right now, Josh Johnson, and he is done. They're going to bring in a reliever. He is, quote unquote, the pitcher of record for the Marlins. For the Phillies, Jamie Moyer is the pitcher of record. Now they're each the pitcher of record in different ways. Johnson would get the victory if they hold on. Moyer would get the loss if the Marlins hold on. As Larry says, if the Phillies were to somehow come back, if they were to come back here in the bottom of the 8th, J.C. Romero would be the pitcher of record when they gain the lead, and so he would be in line for the victory. At that point, we would probably bring in Brad Lidge to try to get the save. If the guy, unless somehow the Phillies scored like 10 runs and they were way ahead, then it wouldn't be a save situation. But if it was a save situation, you bring in Lidge, he gets the save, Romero gets the victory. The loss would go to whoever was responsible for the run that caused the lead to disappear. Now, this is a save. In Major League Baseball terms, this is right now a save situation. It's within 3 runs of the lead. Strat's save situation for these little rankings here with the dot, it's not the same. Well, the Marlins are going to bring in Arthur Rhodes. I just made that decision, so Phillies have some left-handed hitting coming up here. they're just going to bring him in, make sure he is ready to go. And so, Jimmy Rollins against Arthur Rhodes. Against batting from the right, 5-5, a 1-4 single chance. Low odds there, but it's a 3, so could be worse. Let's see. Rhodes -1, Baker +1. Yeah, Rollins will try to get a good lead here. Needs a 4, 5, or 6 on the total Reds, and he gets a 4. So there you go. That'll be a 1-17 chance, and it's a 3. So not only is that a stolen base, you get a chance to check whether Baker makes a throwing error. You need a 1-8 based on his throwing error rating. And it's a 2, so Rollins will make it all the way to third base. So you get the stolen base, you get the throwing error. So if you get a 1 through 3 on your stolen base roll, you check the throwing error. So Victorino at the plate, and Marlins are going to play with the infield back. They are more than willing to give up a run here. Victorino against the lefty, 4-6, batting from the right. There is a single that's going to score, and that's going to bring up the big dogs here, Utley, Howard, and Burrell. And Victorino, he's going to try to see if he can get a lead. 11, so yes, that's another case of a lead. That's a 1-16 chance. And a 9, he will make it to second. So Phillies playing a little bit of, trying to play a little speed game here, get themselves back into this game. Utley at the plate. These are the two guys. Oh, again, the Marlins will get Matt Lindstrom warming up for when Burrell comes to bat. So Utley, this is where Rhodes is really there for. 110, that's a grounder to first. That will be, the play will be made by Jacobs. Probably for the bottom of the ninth, I'm going to make a defensive switch, but could have done it here, actually. But that will be a 3-1. Rhodes does come over. So that's the first out. So a fly ball makes it 4-3 if it's deep enough. Ryan Howard and a 1. Potential wild pitch. That's I got to read this. 1-6. Wild pitch. In comes Victorino. So it is 4-3. And Ryan Howard still at the plate. Don't need to roll that anymore. So actually, it's not 4. It's a wild pitch. So Ryan Howard, the tying run at the plate. This will be it for Arthur Rhodes, too, by the way. So 1 out, 2-2. That's going to be a grounder to second, and that will be out number 2. And the manager goes to the mound and is going to bring in Matt Lindstrom here to face Pat Burrell. So here we go. Nobody on base, 2 outs. This is a chance for Burrell to possibly tie the game or Lindstrom to get them out of the inning. 4-7 against a righty. Well, that's a walk. So it's going to bring Jeff Jenkins up. Again, this is another case where you could have kept Rhodes in for another batter, but here we go. Jeff Jenkins against Lindstrom. 3-6, that's a grounder to short, and that'll be a 6-4 fielder's choice. Ends the inning. They do pick up 2 runs and draw to within a run, so this could set up to be an interesting end of the game situation. The Phillies are going to have to go back to the bullpen. They're going to use Lidge to try to keep this a tight ball game. Not a safe situation, but nonetheless, you would like to get through Willingham, Jacobs, and Ugla. So, Now, they're going to let Willingham hit here against Lidge. Against a righty 5-9, that's a strikeout. And this is maybe a good time not to have taken Mike Jacobs out. Phillies climb back to within a run. If we can get another one column here, it would be pretty rough. Against a lefty 4-6, there is 1-4 double chance. The rest are singles. That's 13. So a single for Jacobs, and let's see. Are they going to look for? They're going to pinch run with Cody Ross here. Okay, so Cody Ross, and he will probably stay in the game and play center. But let's see. Dan Ugla. 3-7 strikes him out. Boy, just misses the home run roll. Lucky there. 2 outs. John Baker. Potential wild pitch for Lidge. 1-16. That's going to get that insurance run to second base. So Baker still at the plate. Against the lefty, another 4-6. It's going to score a run. Gee. Single, wow. Well, the Phillies got the benefit of a wild pitch, and now the Marlins do, so. Wait, that's 4-5. I think that was 4-5, not 4-6. That's actually a double, so. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't tell. I'm going to give him the double. So Amizaga, 2 outs, 5-6 strikes him out. So whether it's a single or double is immaterial. But they do get an insurance run, and they're going to have Kevin Gregg in to try to close this game down. So real quick here, we've got to do some. I'm not going to worry about changing the ratings at this point. If we get some X chances, we'll just dig them out. Amizaga is going to move to third base. Cantu is going to move to first base. And and let's see, they're going to have Kevin Gregg take the mound. Sorry. Gregg. Going to try and get the save here. 5-3. And the bottom of the order for the Phillies, so. Well, they'll do the math later. Eric Bruntlett is going to not going to hit in this situation. It'll be Jason Worth. So Jason Worth against Kevin Gregg here to start the ninth. Bottom of the ninth. They need 2 runs. 5-3. So 1-9. That's a single. Wait, what am I saying? I'm looking off 4-9. That's not a single. 1-9 is a strikeout, so my bad. Apologies for that. Carlos Ruiz. They're going to use Chris Coast in this situation. Better hitter. So Chris Coast against Gregg. 2-3, that's going to be a grounder to second base, and that'll be out number 2. And the pitcher spot, it'll be So Taguchi, last hurrah here. Against a righty, 4-8, 1-12 would extend the game with a single. but it's an 18. That's going to be grabbed at third. The defensive substitution, Amazaga, is able to make that stab, and that is your ball game. So the Florida Marlins pick up game one of this series, 5-3 over the Phillies, as Josh Johnson pitches 7 strong innings, and let's see, 2 hit ball for him, it looks like. Worked around 2 errors in those 7 innings, and the big hero in this game for the Marlins, that would be Mike Jacobs. Big home run, 3-run home run in the 6th, as well as a run scored in the 9th. Although it was Ross who was pinch running in that situation. He was the one that got the single. So give credit where credit's due, and the Marlins will move to 64-59. The Phillies drop to 6.5 back. And, their struggles continue. They have trouble against the NL East, and that's the way it goes. So, yeah, they got that run. It was doubled by John Baker. The 50-50 nature of Strat, I think, puts a hurting on them there, because Lidge Lidge's card, if you want to take a look at it here. Where are we? Where is he? Where did I put that? Maybe I put it underneath here. I don't know where I put the stupid thing. Did I put it on this pile? No. I put it on this pile? No. Yeah, I did. All right, here we go. So, I mean, he's still really good against lefties. I mean, he's got almost 2 columns of nothing. But, you get 4 or 2 times and you're screwed. And, it's the 50-50 nature of Strat. Or if you really want to say it, it's the 16% nature where you get, to me, here's what I would personally, I wouldn't mind seeing. I don't know. I'm not sure why it isn't this way, actually, but I'm not sure why they don't spread things like, let's say, instead of having, I guess they like having people think, oh, I need a 1, or I need a 4, or I need a blah, blah, blah. But, like if you put 4-6 over, like make this the 5-6 and make the 5-6 the 4-6, then if for some reason you get a die that for some reason is a little askew and it goes to 4 a number of times, then you get some chances where you end up with that strikeout instead of you end up with, so we had 2 rolls in the 4-6, 4-5 range. What if that die is just a little off weight? Then how is, I understand why they do it that way, and it's partly because you can kind of automatically know, you don't even have to look at the card a lot of times for some guys and know, oh, I got a 3, that's it. He did it, but I think when it comes to mathematical probabilities, it can potentially, I don't think so. But, I understand the way they do it, but it could lend itself to, if you get something where a die just is let's say in this case 4 happy. It's just that's the way it kind of goes. But and but see, there might be another day where it gets 6 happy and then Lidge is fine. So I don't know. Maybe I'm baseless in this argument, but I'm not sure. So yeah, in this case, column 4 is a killer if you have lefties at the plate, and in this case, Baker was at the plate, and yeah, that's life with the Phillies, and so You know, and I mean maybe that's part of the reason that you have Lidge can't save a game. He does save games, but he doesn't have a perfect season. Maybe that's a part of it. Is the way the card is set up? Um, someone who doesn't have um, you know can't verify that their cards are like the most perfect, or not their cards, their dice are the most perfect, things in the world. That they can't be 100%. I don't know. It sounds somewhat weird to say that probably, but I don't know. I'm just trying to find answers for how you end up with 2 4s, and I guess it's just that's luck. That's luck. Next game, it won't be the same. So, and if it is, then maybe there is some validity to. Maybe I need to change my dice. All right. Well, that's okay. One game isn't a killer. As I've said before, I kind of feel like this project. I feel like this project is somewhat flawed to begin with, and it's been relatively difficult to maintain focus um, through it because the enjoyment level is you kind of get to the point where you feel like it's you want to get it done, and that's the reason you're doing it. And at this point I kind of there I definitely feel at times like I would be and maybe I may do it. I may put this away today and go pick up a different game and play it out some, so that way I'm sort of like not dwelling. I mean, I'm not going to dwell upon this game. I mean, they lost 2 in a row, no big deal. But as you see things, as I see things, they're like 6.5 back of Florida. You just can't help but say to yourself, it's not going to happen. So, um, for whatever reason, you know, pick. The prevailing reason I would have is just that the Phillies, based on their stats, weren't as good um, as the record came out in the rinse. So, um, maybe based on their statistical production, they should have been closer. I haven't even really looked at what the final standings were. Um, I don't know, like their run differential, how that might be something good to look at. Let's bring it up. I've got time here, a little bit of time. I don't want to make this video way too long, but let's see. What was the Phillies' ultimate run differential? Because a lot of times run differential is an indicator of the standings. Let's go to standings. That's what we need. It can be it can be a decent indicator of whether or not a team. Well, that's detailed standings. There we go. All right, run differential 0.7. So you look at the Cubs in that season were 1.1, so a run better. You had the Rays 0.6. You had Boston at 0.9 and the Phillies at 0.7. So I mean, in theory, they shouldn't be. They aren't like the Houston Astros who finished 86 and 75, but had a -2 run differential. And they, when you look at the stat like that, you would say, what does Alexa say to this run differential? I don't know what she says. Alexa can go look for breakfast somewhere, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. I'm looking for answers. They're 92 and 70 in real life. I don't see them getting to 92 wins. What do we have? 50 games left, and they are at 57. So they need what? 20. What do they have to do? They need to go 30. 33. No, they got to go 35-15 in their final 50 games to get to 92. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just the maybe it's just the what do you call that, standard deviation. Maybe we're just in the negative standard deviation. I have yet, like, when I've posted stuff on, when I've gotten frustrated and post stuff on Facebook and all this stuff, I have yet to have anybody come in there and say, "Oh, these Phillies, they won 100 games for me." Those 2008 Phillies. That's like, I've never heard that. So what I have heard is more on the under, which means that, to me, whether statistical production doesn't match, or whether the game mechanics of Stratomatic do not do certain styles of team favors. Either way, my guess is that the Phillies are always going to be one of these teams that does not perform up to their level in this game. So, uh, if anybody, here's a thought. If anybody following this video series, if anybody has ever managed the 2008 Phillies to 93 wins or more in a season using Stratomatic Super Advanced, please post. And I would be very instructive to know, because to me, based on what I've heard, there should be at least 5 or 6 people who have had that happen, because I've had at least 5 or 6 people. Well, we'll say 4 or 5. I myself am one of them that is, I don't see them going where they're going. I don't see them getting there. So, please be someone who, I mean, obviously I would have no way to corroborate this, but in my thinking as a scientist, when you have a number, and maybe I'm thinking about it wrong, but you finish 92 wins, you should have, for every 91 win season that gets played in a game like this, you should have a 93. You know what I mean? But I guess maybe the way that Strat would look at it, or not the way they'd look at it, but the way that the Phillies underlying stats lie, is that maybe they really played like an 86 win team, and they hit that 92, which is like 6 games over. And so there's a bunch of them that it should be 6 games under. I don't know. Maybe that's the way they look at it. There's a lot of ways you could go about it. I'm not really trying to rant here. I'm not angry. I'm not like upset. I'm just, I guess it's a realization that I've had that this, I'm going to finish it, but if I break 500 in this, I will probably be happy at this point, because it's tough to see it happening. It's just really tough to see anything like that happen, unless teams like Florida, Atlanta, Mets, end up going to, minor league hands the rest of, towards like September, and more or less hand the Phillies a bunch of wins. I just don't see it happening, but it's a project that I will probably, I don't know, Larry, History Maker Baseball. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, to me, so here's something that makes me wonder. Okay, let me pull out a card here. Here is something that makes me wonder. Okay? I have a tough time getting Brett Myers through 5 innings in a game. Brett Myers. Now, granted, his stats are not great, but I don't know how you end up giving a inning of weakness as a 7 on Brett Myers' card. I'm not sure how you give that when, let's see, his innings pitched 190, starts 30. So let's do the math. I mean, that's just, what's that? Just over 6 innings per start. So what do we get for? So what do we have? How many innings pitched for Kyle Kendrick? Okay, so there's 160. So that's a little over 5. Okay, that's fine. Hamels, how many starts? 33 starts. So we're gonna have to dial that back some. How many innings pitched? I can't get this to. Can't get it to. So 227. So 30 on 21 would be 7 innings pitched. 33. Yeah, I mean it's he's a little closer to 7 innings, but I mean I just, based on the production that the offense has, and I mean to me it's just, to me, I mean his win losses are actually pretty decent compared to real life. I mean real life it was 10-13. I think he's 9-6. But I don't know. It's just sometimes the ratings are strange in this game, and I don't know what about it is what is strange. But I think Myers is actually at the moment is pretty close to that 4.55 ERA. So it's not like he's way off the mark. It's not like a lot of guys are way off the mark. So I don't know. What I'm wondering is how close Florida actually is to their numbers, because I kind of feel like they probably are way above, but who knows? Anyway, I need to sign off here before I go too much further. Like I said, I'm not. This isn't like angering me. I'm like you say, curious. It's something that has. I don't think History Maker will. I think probably the like History Maker baseball. I feel like the variability of that game is greater. I don't think it has anything. And now you're just making fun of me, Larry. No, just kidding. I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking for answers. I think it's. I think it's just. I think it's. I'll tell you what it is. This is what it is. It's just the trouble with expecting to reproduce real life in cards. Like my expectations are just too high. That's probably the case, and it's unfortunate. The expectation is what I feel like drives this channel, is like we seek that. That's what we're looking for in our pursuits here. Why would we do it unless we wanted to recreate life? And when you can't, it's maybe the expectation is just unfounded or um, unrealistic. So maybe that's the case. But I mean, we're gonna keep going. But and see, this is the reason why I wanted to record and edit and then upload last night, and I didn't get a chance to do it, or it basically erased on me. It's kind of the reason why I wanted to do it, because I feel like I have a chance to edit edit the things that are talked about here on the channel. I don't kind of just riff on, but I don't know. People hang around a little bit for the riffing, so. All right, well let's sign it off here. It's okay. We're gonna get through this series. It's gonna take me till the end of March, but that's the plan. That would be about a year, and I don't foresee them making the playoffs, but maybe I'll get surprised. So have a good day, everybody. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you watching, and until next time, enjoy your tabletop sports. Have a good one.